come to save the day.
Welcome to Mighty House. This is a show for people with problems, home improvement problems, that is, and for people who want common sense guidance on how to build green and live a more sustainable lifestyle. Send an email. The Mighty House crew is on the job. This is Mighty House.
Hey, we're back, and today we're going to talk about two kitchens in a house. Is that what you just said, Rich? Two kitchens.
Two kitchens.
Two kitchens. And we're not talking about the Italian kitchen that goes in the basement. This will be something different, so stay tuned. First, click on that subscribe button and also dingle on the bell. That way you get notified next time we post something. And if you want to leave a comment below, feel free to do that. Rich and I will both answer it when we get some time. So with that, the new trend that we're kind of starting to see, and that I just wanted to kind of just talk this through with you because you're in that higher end market and building homes that in that higher end market, and we kind of dabble in it here and there. But the latest trend is now you have your main kitchen, which is what I've always called the show kitchen because nobody ever uses it. It's that main show kitchen, but now we're starting to do that main show kitchen, and then we have the butler's pantry or a secondary kitchen, whatever you want to call it, where the actual work gets done so that the main kitchen stays clean and fresh. And, you have all the prepared food in the butler's pantry or that second kitchen, the working kitchen, and then it gets brought out into the main kitchen.
And I think the whole thing has just been it's been a progressive, right? So you think back to turn of the century, the mansions that were built in Chicago and every other major city in this country, in the dining room, they had a sideboard.
Correct.
The sideboard was where all the food was brought out to, and then from the kitchen, which was typically not in the house, because if there was a fire in the house, in the kitchen, they didn't want to burn the house down.
Sure.
So I got fond memories of a trip to New Orleans where I actually saw that, where a woman took and showed me, because her house was built in like 1730. The original kitchen is now the garage, and it was just absolutely amazing how well it was done in the appointments. But anyway, so you started with those cupboards, and we've done a lot of houses with Butler pantries, which is just a little offside area like you've got shown there.
Right.
Plates, dishes, maybe like some running water. But we've gone now well past that. As you said, we now have prep areas. So we've done water systems. We've done, cooktops. We've done refrigeration, dishwashers. As you said, the main kitchen has a 5-foot wolf range with a beautiful decorative hood over it, and side-by-side Sub-Zero, refrigerator and freezer, and everything goes to the Butler pantry to be prepared and served.
Right. And those appliances don't get used out in the main kitchen, and
you could scratch them.
Right. And what I did is I just put up this is a traditional butler's pantry that you would see in an older home, and that was a room off the dining room, between the kitchen and the dining room, and stuff was prepared in the kitchen, went to the butler's pantry where it was plated and all that, and then it was brought out to the guests in the dining room. And that was the traditional way of doing it. And then those butler's pantries kind of went by the wayside as time went on.
The houses got smaller, families got larger. They needed bedrooms more than they needed the butler pantry. But again, it really has to do with size of the home.
Right.
But I mean, even when I lived up in Chicago and I built a couple of large homes, we didn't really do butler pantries. They had large kitchens, but they didn't really do the butler pantry thing. Right.
And so here's a picture of something you might see today. You can see it's off the side of the dining room. You called it, when we were going through this before, it could be a wet bar because it's just got the refrigerator, sink, but it could also be an area that has it where you do the prep and then you go ahead and move that on into the dining room. So this is probably more of what you would see today. And then I think what you're talking about building and what you're doing in your homes now is something like this.
Yes.
And so now here's a butler's pantry secondary kitchen, or working kitchen, that some of those base cabinets are probably actually dishwashers.
Right.
There's a
And I'll be
cooktop.
honest, you get the drawer dishwashers or the pull downs. Some of these actually might be full paneled refrigerator doors.
Yep.
So, you might have a wine refrigerator, you have your, colder, your beer refrigerator. And I always make the distinction because wine refrigerators typically won't go below 55.
Yep.
Which is no good for my sebaceous. I need those at 37, 38 degrees. So I don't combine the two. But yeah, it's very cool. I mean, and I like that, this Butler Pantry and secondary kitchen thing it's an up and coming thing where, again, I think you're going to see it more in larger homes. We can tie this together, but I think what you're trying to see more people do, which I did before I left Chicago, was a lot more related living.
Right. Right. And, I think at least here in the Chicago area, we always called it an Italian kitchen because that kitchen was built in the basement and it was a secondary kitchen down there and that's where all the bigger pots of food.
Well, you could leave your gravy cooking away for days.
Correct. And you did all the canning down there. You did all that kind of stuff there. Out on the farm where at like my mom's house, she's got a country kitchen. It's a summer kitchen. That's a separate building that is just a kitchen that was designed from, it's a 1800s house. That's where all the canning was done. That's where all the heavy lifting was done. And then it was brought into the main house. Right. So similar to what you were talking about. But today, this is a great option now. Stuff comes in, it goes right through here, gets prepped, and then it gets taken out to the main kitchen because people hang out in the kitchen. So where do the people that are actually preparing the food go? And what do they do? So this is a great option if you've got the space, is to create like a working kitchen and then have your show kitchen out where everybody else is hanging out and eating hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, I get it. It's not for everybody. It's, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't me either. I don't have a butler's pantry or a secondary kitchen. But, we build a lot of really high-end homes, and yes, it's absolutely necessary. And they have staff.
Correct.
So most of us don't have staff.
Right. But, even if you were just going to host a party, and you're having it catered, where do those people go? They're in your kitchen. So,
right. Well, that's what makes these great. If you have the space, even if you only entertain a few times a year, that is, but you've got to have that space.
Right. And these secondary kitchens, they have dishwashers, they have cooktops, they have ovens, they have the large refrigerators. So they have all those main pieces that you would find in a regular kitchen, but they're in the secondary kitchen, in the working kitchen, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is not a highlighted space. It's not a space that your guests would wander through and be cutting through. It's off to the side of the dining room. It's off the side of the kitchen. So when you design these, you want to make sure you're not putting it where people are just going to be passing through there and getting in the way. The whole idea of having these is to have a dedicated space for that food prep.
Right. So you think about it, like, a monster home kitchen might be 20 by 20.
Yep.
Right. I mean, they're huge, right? You got a huge center island. I mean, we do a lot of homes with 2 islands.
Right.
Something like this room is probably no more than 8 feet wide. It could be 16 feet long.
Right.
So instead of doing that giant kitchen, you make the kitchen slightly smaller and you just have that door down there. So you see the window at the end of the hall with some natural light, but you have all this storage, this pantry. And if you look, most of the stuff is serving stuff, right? And
Correct.
Even the old one was plates and bowls, and so it's nice.
Correct. That's the classic where you can see it, and that's where all the china was, all the serving trays and stuff like that. But same principle right there. It just brought into today's standards and the way we are living today. So fairly interesting. But I just kind of wanted to cover this real quick. It's a new design thing that we're starting to see and trending. So just kind of wanted to cover it as a topic and see where it goes. So if we do some more, if you got comments, you want to leave a comment below, go ahead. We can answer a little bit more. If you want to help designing one of these things, we both have connections to be able to put you in touch with people that can do it. So I'd say with that, keep it square and level.
Till next time.
Until next time. There you go. Let's do stop the share. Okay. Dingle music.
Right.
Boom, done.